Welcome everyone, my name is Rigel and welcome to day 4 of my Vilnius vlog. I'm coming to you at around 11:30 at night because I've already done my fair share of things today. So first off, let's start with lunch because I woke up around 11 or so, and it's clearly past breakfast time. So I went for lunch, and because it's Sunday, almost nothing around this region is open, and so I had to go to this really fancy, really high class place. Normally they sell steaks and such, but they also sell beef stroganoff. But also it actually took me a while to figure out that it was supposed to be beef stroganoff because here in Lithuania, instead of calling it Jautieno Stroganovis or something like that, I'm just making that up. Instead of actually calling it beef and then the word for stroganoff, they actually call it befstroganis, which is very strange. Let me say that again, befstroganis, which I think comes from French. And it already contains the beef component, but it's still usually called Jautieno befstroganis. And yeah, because of that, and because I suspect the menu writers didn't know how to really translate it to English, they instead wrote befstrogen on the menu, on the English menu, which was very, very strange. I was looking at that for about 5 minutes thinking, is that a weird variant of estrogen or something like that? But no, I looked it up, and yeah, befstroganis is just their way of referring to beef stroganoff, and so I ordered that. And I also ordered a cappuccino, I think, and also French onion soup, and the whole thing came up to just under 40 euros, which is pretty expensive. Definitely not a weekly affair, so as to speak. So yeah, I had to do that. I mean, realistically, it was either that or like get a sandwich from Narvesen or something, and I really didn't want to do that. So yeah. So I went to this really fancy place and got some beef stroganoff. I'll put up some photos right here, but yeah, I don't think it was really worth it, to be quite honest. But yeah, I handled lunch, I guess, and I stayed in the hotel for a little longer and decided I wanted to take the bus because in Vilnius, there's an app called Trafi, Trafi, which allows you not only to navigate around Vilnius, but also to buy bus tickets and just activate them willy-nilly. Which is really cool because you don't have to buy any sort of card or anything like that, and you can just use the app, and yeah, that's basically about it. Now, in case you didn't know, Vilnius has a very interesting bus system. I have noticed over the past few days that a lot of things here are kind of trust-based. Basically, they just trust you to not do the illegal thing, and one of those cases is in convenience stores when you want to get like a hot drink or something. You don't have to pay for the drink first. You can actually just get the drink and then pay for it. And there's just kind of this assumption that you're not just going to run out with a full drink from the machine. So there's one case of the trust-based system. The other case is the bus tickets. Well, there's basically this system where you can get a ticket and you don't actually have to prove to the bus driver or whatever that you actually have the ticket. So for example, especially on the Trafi app, what you do quite literally is just go on the app, find one of the tickets that you've already bought, and then just activate it on your phone. You don't actually have to press any card reading machine or get out any cash or anything like that. As long as you can basically activate a ticket on your phone, you're good. And to check that, there are these little minibuses called controle, which basically act as card control or fee control, and they'll just be parked at random bus stops, and we'll just get on the bus to check if people have valid tickets, basically. And so far I haven't actually encountered any of them, but I've only ridden the bus twice, so who am I to say? Anyways, yeah, I wanted to try the bus. So I went for a bus ride, and where did I go? I went to the old town of Vilnius because that is a pretty popular tourist destination. Now, I went pretty late. I only left the house, left the hotel around 5:30 or so in the evening, and so when I got there, it was already dark, and the bus I was taking was also like really, really small. And there was like this old woman next to me who was just giving me judgmental looks the whole time, and it was rather uncomfortable. But yeah, one thing that I've also learned regarding those kind of electronic tickets you can get on the Traffy app is that you don't actually need to scan anything. There is a QR code, but you're not actually required to scan said QR code, when you get on the bus. I've been told this by a local, by the way, so this is legit advice. The only time the ticket QR code is actually useful is when you tap on when you tap on it, it will show the QR code, and the only time when it's actually useful is when the controle comes around, and they will scan that QR code to check that it's actually active. So, there's more details about this. I watched a great video made by Lithuania Explained. They're a YouTuber from Canada, actually, but they've been living in Lithuania for a couple of years, and so he's doing like basically English language content about Lithuania, and one of the videos he did was about the public transport in Vilnius. I highly recommend his channel if you want to learn more about Lithuania or even just Vilnius. But yeah, that is the bus system in Lithuania, which is quite interesting because back home where I'm from, basically at the front you just tap a card and you have to kind of make it clear that you have actually tapped said basically stored value card, and you can very easily talk to the bus driver. Unlike here, the bus driver basically never interacts with anyone. But there's also a difference that here, I think the bus driver, at least in Vilnius, stops at every stop. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, I wanted to take the bus. I wanted to go to the old town, and off I went. And one of the first things I noticed upon arriving in the old town was the Vilnius Light Festival. Now, I'd already learned about this before arriving here in Vilnius because again, I watched Lithuania Explained, and he mentioned in one of his videos that there is this thing called the Vilnius Light Festival, and it's pretty cool. I wouldn't necessarily call it a full-fledged festival. It's mostly just a projection on one church or whatever that building was, but it is still really cool. There's a lot of lights, as you might imagine, but it's also this kind of projection that plays on perspective and 3D and stuff like that. And it's about 4.5 minutes long, and I actually took a video of it. So here is the video. If you're not interested, again, just skip forward around 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Pretty cool, huh? So after filming all of that, and with my hands exposed to the cold air for 4.5 minutes, I was freezing, and so I thought, hey, let's get something to eat. Well, I walked around the old town. Actually, it's a little bit bigger than I expected it to be. But yeah, I walked around the old town looking for kind of more traditional Lithuanian food, because there was this place purportedly for Tex-Mex, and also some various other places that sold, pizza. I think I came across like 3 or 4 Italian places, which is rather strange. I didn't know Lithuanians liked Italian food this much, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I was looking for more kind of Lithuanian traditional food, and finally I came across a place called Lokys, spelled LoKys. It's a place which purportedly is the oldest restaurant in the Vilnius Old Town. And so I went in, and actually one of the reasons I wanted to go there was because they sold the one and only tepeline. If you didn't know what tepeline is basically the name literally translates to zeppelins, but actually it's more like a zeppelin-shaped potato dumpling type thing. and it's a very kind of iconic part of Lithuanian cuisine. And so I wanted to try that. I had heard about it since even before I left for Vilnius. So I wanted to try that, and yeah, I went in and I ordered that, and also I had this spiced wine. Actually, it was very nice. It's that it looks like red wine, but actually if you smell it, if you taste it, you can taste like cloves, you can taste like cinnamon. Very, very nice. So I had a glass of that plus my tepeline, and for dessert I had this weird thing called rye bread delicacy, or in English they call it creamy rye bread delicacy, but the translation from the Lithuanian name literally also just says rye bread delicacy. So I have no clue what that's about. It's not really even bread pudding. It's actually a little bit harder than that. But it's a little bit like cake if it were a little bit harder. But yeah, that was interesting. It was actually sour, so not really quite a dessert, I do say so myself. There was like jam on it. There was a little bit of a meringue, which was cool. So yeah, that was very nice. And actually, this whole meal, including, by the way, the complimentary bread, this whole thing came out to actually cheaper by a couple euro. Than the beef stroganoff that I had for lunch, and which I didn't really particularly feel too strongly about. So yeah, that's something to think about, I suppose. But I had a very good meal at Loki's, and actually I looked around the actual setting of the restaurant, and for some reason they have this hall that's called Sweden House, Sverigehuset. They literally say it on on a plaque or something like that underneath kind of a deer head. And speaking of deer, actually, this place is pretty unique in that they use game for their meats. Apparently they have like a beaver stew, which I didn't try obviously, but apparently I've been told that the filling in the tepeline were also game, so that's very interesting as well. So again, something to think about. And also, why did they have a Sweden house in their restaurant? But yeah, anyways, that was a really cool experience. For what it's worth, I think the whole setting and everything was very nice. The food was very tasty. Although, again, I was kind of surprised by the tepeline in that I didn't expect the kind of texture of the dumpling to be borderline glutinous. Like, it reminded me of the glutinous rice that we have at home sometimes. So that was interesting. And so after that, I continued walking around the old town, and I came across none other than Vilnius University. Now, the Vilnius University is actually really old. I think it was first set up in the 15th century, which is pretty huge. But actually, in a plot twist, my actual faculty is nowhere near this campus. I'm actually based up north. It's all the way up north, even more northern than Ozus, which I visited earlier. And it takes a while to get there even by bus. So yeah, that's not the faculty I'm going to, but I am going to take a Lithuanian language course, which is at the Faculty of Philology, which is right next to the main campus. So yeah, I went to the campus. I went to the kind of courtyard where for some reason they had these weird kind of metallic prisms for some reason, like giving off some sort of weird noise. I don't know what's up with that, but I did go into the courtyard, a very, very big place, although for some reason they covered up the fountain for some reason. I don't know why they did that. And then I went back outside. I went up a little bit, and I got to see the courtyard from a little bit higher, and the view was cool as well. And yeah, after that I continued exploring the old town, and I actually came across this weird church where it was a big structure. However, in the same building as the big church, they also had a sushi restaurant. So make of that what you will. They also had, I think, a little hotel or hostel or something like that next to a sushi restaurant. So yeah, that's interesting. Why are they putting a sushi restaurant next to a church? I couldn't tell you, but yeah, there was that. And then I went on to Vokiečių gatvė. Now, gatvė just means street, and Vokiečių gatvė literally translates to German street. I'm not even kidding. Literally, the street sign underneath the Lithuanian, it literally says Deutsche Straße. So yeah, they're not really mistranslating anything. The street is literally called German Street. I don't really know how that came about. I imagine there must be some sort of history to it. So yeah, that was basically my visit to the old town of Vilnius. Afterwards, I took the bus back, even though I probably could have walked back from there. The bridge across the river is very much walkable, and yeah, I could have walked back, but again, I just wanted to kind of practice taking the bus. And again, it felt weird not having to show any sort of identification to prove that I have taken the bus, but it is what it is. These kinds of systems differ between different countries, and that's just perfectly fine. So yeah, that was my day out at the old town of Vilnius. I saw a lot of historical buildings, a lot of paved roads with like pebbles or whatever they're called. And yeah, so it's a very interesting experience. I'll definitely go back because actually, on the way out, I saw the Gediminas Tower. I didn't go up there, but in the distance, I saw the Gediminas Tower. That's another big kind of tourist attraction in Lithuania, in Vilnius. So I will definitely back in that region. I'll, check out the Gediminas Tower and the region around that, and eventually I'm also planning to check out the TV tower, which is the spinning structure. Actually, there's a restaurant at the top, so yeah, I'll definitely be doing a little vlog about that when it happens. But for now, that is my 4th day in Vilnius, and actually tonight is the second to last night that I'll be sleeping here, because on the 31st I will be moving from here to my actual dormitory in the extreme north of Vilnius. So that is gonna do it for this video. Like this video if you enjoyed my commentary. Subscribe so you don't miss my future content, including vlogs like these, and I'll see you next time.